To speak with Abraham Amaliba. He is a member of the NDC's legal team, to throw some more light on other things that happened in the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi, which has to do with the constitution of the National Democratic Congress. Key amongst it is the expansion of the Electoral College. A number of people are unsure what it means for the party, and then does it mean that they are still going to hold centralized congresses, or it is going to be decentralized, and is it going to be for specific positions, or, well, we have questions to ask and answers to be given by Mr. Abraham Amaliba. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon to your viewers.
Great. We want to shoot straight to the bit that has to do with the expansion of the Electoral College, which was adopted by the delegates of the party. Can you kindly explain to us what it means if the NDC says it has expanded its Electoral College?
Now, simply put, it will increase the number of delegates to our constituency conferences, regional conferences, and then the National Congress. So that the number of people you saw, or the number of delegates you saw, for instance, at the National Congress, would increase as compared to what you saw. What informed this? Our graphs were of the view that they want increased participation in the activities and decision-making processes in the party. And so there was a team that went around all the regions to collate the views of our grassroots people. The culmination of this exercise is what we saw on Saturday, where the Congress approved of the expansion of our delegates. So, for instance, you are now going to have people who serve as presidential staffers and are members of the NDC voting. We are going to see ambassadors who are members of the NDC given the right to vote. Also, there's going to be expansion of the delegates at the youth congresses and as well as women's congresses. So these expansions are meant to ensure that our grassroots participate in the decision-making process.
Right. The increase in numbers in terms of the number of people who now are going to be empowered to elect national executives, wouldn't it have any kind of impact negatively going forward? Because even the little about 4,000 that we had at the Kumasi Sports Stadium, it took well over 6 to 7 hours for them to finish voting and for counting to be done. Now, if you're going to be having excesses in terms of numbers and you're still going to be holding centralized congresses, how is that going to pan out?
Indeed. Let me tell you that, viewers, that we intend in the near future having all card-bearing members vote, but it is going to be progressive. And so these numbers you are seeing, and that would amount to 250,000 delegates. These numbers you are seeing are not going to overwhelm us. The decision as to whether we're going to have a centralized conference or a decentralized conference will be taken later on. But for now, we are responding to the hue and cry of our grassroots who want to be part of the democratic process. Now, best practices show that you need to increase your electoral college so that it will be difficult for vote buying. So one advantage of this increase in the delegates is that it will now be difficult for a candidate to literally buy the delegates, because this huge number will be a disincentive to any candidate who wants to use money. So it will cut down on the monetization of our democratic process, and this is what the NDC hopes to achieve.
And wouldn't that then put extra pressure on the leadership of the party financially if you're going to have these numbers in excess of over 250,000 people exercising their franchise? Are you going to bring them all together, or they're going to be in their various regions?
Yes, I've indicated that the decision to either have a centralized centralized conference will be taken later on. But don't also forget that one of the amendments is the introduction of an electoral directorate, an election directorate. This election directorate will also be replicated at the polling station level, that's the branch level, the constituency level, and also at the national level. So at the branch level, you have an election directorate. At the constituency, you have an election directorate, and then at the national level, you have an election directorate. These people will now be in charge of the electoral processes. So you see, we are mindful of the challenges. So we are putting in place mechanisms that will absorb these challenges. But best practices is what we can form in us to do what we are doing. Okay.
We'll have to leave it here for now. Thank you very much for explaining the electoral college system that has been adopted by the NDC to us. We're grateful. You heard Abraham Amaliba. He is a member of the legal team of the governing National Democratic Congress. And a number of other provisions in the constitution of the NDC were tinkered with, and some were changed, some were maintained. The few that were adopted included the electoral college system, and then also they've asked that the propaganda secretary position be renamed to communication officer position, which means that they are going to have now a communications officer instead of a propaganda secretary.